All right. Here we are at Christos Avatar TV. I'm your brother, your host, Anuhazi. And tonight we're just gonna mix it up a little bit. We got another star brother, Indigo homie in the house. Could you say hello to us, brother?
Hello, how's everybody doing? I'd like to thank Anuhazi for having me on. My name is Natai. I am one half of the Echoes of the Eternal Flame podcast, and let's have a good time. Let's have a good conversation, and I hope everybody who's tuning in will grab something. And that me and Anuhazi here are going to be able to assist and facilitate in some growth and some healing, and not just for everyone tuning in, for ourselves as well, because we're all in this together and we are all taking that journey home hand in hand.
Beautifully said, brother. Thank you so much for being here as well.
Mhm.
It just kind of just sparked. It kind of happened. That's how spirit rolls. That's how the guardians bring this together. How our higher selves are bringing it together. So um, this is a great opportunity for us to just share some of the teachings and also just to go into spiritual awakening. Go into, hey, it's 2026. What's going to be happening down the road. So I love it, brother. If you could just share just your spiritual journey in general, how you got to this point in your life.
Yeah, I'll start my spiritual journey, and for me finding the freedom teachings begins in 2020 during COVID year. Prior to that year, I was a very devout Christian. I grew up Christian. That's how everything was. But I was starting to notice certain holes in Christianity. Like for example, if God is all powerful, why does he need to sacrifice? Like the fact that the basis of the religion is off a sacrifice of some amazing person.
Yeah.
As we find out later in the freedom teachings, Jeshua did not die. In fact, he moved on and ascended out, right? But 2020 is where I got introduced to all the new age stuff, right? You can go through all the new age videos of all those people speaking back then. They're teaching you about the Course in Miracles, the Law of One book, or these channeled texts by Archangel Michael and these Arcturian councils and Pleiadian councils and all and on and on, right? And that's when I started and taught myself how to meditate. Throughout this journey, you know, I thought I was getting better, but actually I felt like I was getting worse. When you're in the new age, it's like this illusion almost that I am progressing, I am getting better. But are you really though? In fact, I feel like new age teachings and just like religion creates this spiritual ego and narcissism where you think you're right without taking into account all other evidence of your own experience. My experience with new age is there was darkness around me. There was all these weird things that are going on. For 1 second I felt like everything is good, I'm feeling abundant, and then the next second I'm like, I want to die. I don't like my life. I don't know what's going on. Now, from the freedom teachings perspective, that is a frequency disharmonization that I was going through. Because my inner, right, as an indigo child, right, as a child, I was an indigo, very perceptive to things. That me as an indigo was yearning for the freedom teachings. But what I was getting was these watered down versions of the true essence, the true teachings, the true Emerald Covenant. So on that journey, it was about 3 years ago, and then ironically enough, 3 years ago, I ran into our friend over here on Christos Avatar channel, talking about this lady, Ashiana Dean, and all her teachings and all. And I said, wait a minute, that's it. Something in me knew, right? That was it. So I watched as much of his live streams as I could. I watched as many workshops as I could find, um, and came to the realization this is going to be my lifelong journey. This will be what I follow for the rest of my life into the afterlife. And now I'm on my bioregenesis journey. I'll go back to previously before the teachings, right? Right before I found the freedom teachings, I was into this really bad thing. I don't, bad as a relative term, but it channeling, right? I was in this channeling thing. I had this energy healer. I'm not gonna say her name, but she was a very popular energy healer at the time. And when we would go into sessions with her, she would bring Archangel Michael, what's it called, El Moria, all of these ascended master beings. But what was weird is when we were in those meditation spaces, they would never reveal themselves to me, only to her. They would never show. I could feel they were there. There was something there. right? So I learned that during that time, personally, I picked up some implants that I had to, burn through and still am working through, right? So I say all this to say, if you are here, if you're tuning into the Freedom Teachings, if you're tuning into this episode, it's for a reason, you know? Whether you resonate or not, what we're talking about here, I believe, is the truth. What I believe is the truest of truths. That God's source is one, but many, and we are all part of it. You know, Another thing that you need to understand is we are in an extremely distorted system, and we have picked up these distortions for millions of years due to certain warring that occurred. And we may ask, why was all this allowed? Why was all these wars and distortions allowed? I've come to learn that it was out of love, you know? It was a decision made from love. Maybe a little bit of cluelessness, right? The new age light, love, and cluelessness, thinking where there's love, there's hope, right? As Ashiana would say in her workshop, where there's love, there's hope. And sometimes some beings out there don't choose freedom. They like what they have. And it's not your responsibility for anybody else. Your responsibility is to yourself first, and then to the people around that you love. That is where responsibility lies, and to source, most importantly, God's source. Because God's source is love. Once you go down the freedom teachings and you get into your flame body and activating portions of your flame body and your DNA and reclaiming more of your DNA strands, you start to feel that. And this love that is beyond words. Stillness will show you that love, you know, and application of the techniques and teachings of what is presented in the freedom teachings. Specifically for me, I follow the ones from 1998 to 2012. Those have worked for me, and those are what I stick to. And and I want to say this to anybody who doesn't resonate with what I'm saying or what I'm speaking or what Anuhazi's saying or what Anuhazi's speaking, love to you as well. You don't have to agree. We can respectfully agree to disagree, and we can have, you know, respectful conversation, respectful comments, respectful, that's what I want to emphasize here.
Yeah.
And let spirit guide us this evening. Let spirit guide you, let spirit guide me and Anahazi, and to all others that are tuning in and will tune in the future.
Yeah, it's beautifully said, brother. Perfect, man. Awesome. Thank you for that.
Mhm,
And I think a lot of us have gone on a similar journey. I know I have. You mentioned Christianity, and my whole family is from that background. And when you're a kid and your mom or dad is pulling you to church, you don't have a will or say.
mhm,
So you just kind of have to go with that. And so to me, I think that was just a lot of the
mhm,
suffering, I guess you could say, that I ran away from as a teenager. I wanted to get out of that because I didn't, like you mentioned, it's a resonance. I didn't feel that resonance with,
mhm.
and plus not the church people, the priest or whoever, the pastor, they can't answer your questions.
Yeah.
As soon as you bring up a question, then they tell you to be silent or quiet
Mhm,
because they don't have an answer. So but yeah, man, and a lot of us also get involved with the new age or the occult or
mhm.
something because I explain it, brother. It's like a lot of people don't have a manual, a star seed coming in, birthing in, an indigo child birthing in. We don't, our parents aren't going to inform us of what we are or what our mission is. So we have to find that out there. So that's what a lot of us have done. We've reached out into new age, into the occult. Who else can explain these frequencies? My church can't, my mom and dad can't, so
Mhm.
it's up to us, right? I mean, don't you find that something that a lot of people
Yeah.
are going through in their journey?
I agree. Yeah. Uh, in our journeys, because like you said, we don't have a manual. Well, now we do, but when we
Yeah.
start, we don't have a manual, right? We have no idea what's going on. For example, if most hyperperceptive indigo children during their childhood, they have a very different experience of reality to everybody around them. You're feeling things. You're seeing things, you're having dreams. So what our, let's say, higher self or our inner self does, we start to shut down portions of that, but it's still there. So as we go into adolescence, and as into young adulthood, we start to feel like there's something really wrong with everything around here. There's something off. And again, in the New Age teachings and the religions, and the Eastern, a lot of us, I went into the Eastern religions. I was like, does Hinduism have it? Does Buddhism have it? Zened
Mm,
out. Um, um, but we all do that for one reason. The reason is to remember, you know? We want to remember secretly where we do remember. We just don't have the framework in which or the concepts in which to create that remembering. New Age does sometimes. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm a starseed. I'm a light worker. Yeah, light, love and
mm,
light. That's like, yeah, that sounds good. That feels good on paper. But since we are a biomechanical creation, like we have biology to us and we're embodied, but we also have a
mm,
spirit, mind, and emotions, right? We are this multi-dimensional thing that if we only focus on one aspect, say love and light, you're denying the fact that you have a shadow in you. You have a shadow body that needs to be cleared out. You know what I mean? And not only that, in a way, there is a necessity for shadow and dark for creation. It kind of has to be there for a polarity experience. That we're kind of going through, but not to the extreme extent that we see in the FA collectives. That is complete um, blasphemy to the Christic intent and the divine blueprint and the Emerald Covenant. But
reverse
I
consciousness, right?
yeah,
So yeah,
it's literally reversed, right?
yeah.
But as somebody starts to awaken and progress, right? The yearning for knowledge is like the number one thing. So wherever we're going to yearn that knowledge, and not only that, there are things placed there for awakening souls to get trapped in these rabbit holes. That's what New Age is. New Age is one of those rabbit holes that has 80%, 70% truth, but it's not 100%. you know and when you're following that, there's always that disconnect. And I want to say something. There are some people who align with that I don't know what their soul matrix or setup is, but there's some people who align with that and will fight tooth and nail for Archangel Michael and the flaming blue
Yeah,
sword, you
yeah,
know, or will tell me, "Oh, Emerald Covenant? You mean the Emerald Tablets of Thoth?" Thoth. Yeah, yeah, that guy that I've encountered in the past, and I seen what he did to us, the Ianis, back
yeah.
then. You know, so the people forget that the FA collective specifically are highly advanced beings as well. You
Just
know?
want to say when he says FA, meaning fallen angelic.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. Yeah, FA collectives, the fallen angelic collectives, the fallen ones, the reversed consciousness ones, they're advanced up to 11.5 dimensions
Hmm.
reversed, right? We're in 3D. Imagine what 11.5 dimensions of awareness is. You know the mechanics of creation. You're just actively choosing to go against it because, that's your decision. You have that right to it, but you can do that over there. But
You
what
can
ended up,
say they're like bullies.
yeah,
We're
exactly.
coming to our 3D, their 11D dark avatars.
Yeah, exactly. And they've been doing that for millions, billions of years.
Mhm.
That's what they've been doing, right? To try and, because once you reach a certain point, and it's not out of like fear, hate, or anger, or, but once you reach a certain point of reversed consciousness, you are set. You will fall and return space back, like a space
Mhm.
dust return, right?
Mhm.
And the only way that you can sustain yourself is by feeding off those with their Christic spark or their source connection. You know? So
Mhm.
that's kind of what this planet has been going through. The angelic humans and the indigos would be seated here. The fallen races will come and try and take from, the genetic template from the angelic humans and the indigos. And this goes into the spiritual awakening aspect because of events that happened in Atlantis. There was this, let's say, Illuminati races have been on this planet, and they have been setting up traps for indigos and angelic humans, and even portions of their own fallen that are waking up to the truth and saying, hey, I don't want to be part of this. Hey, Emerald Covenant races, please, I want to do bioregenesis. They're setting these traps for you in religions, in your new age, in your politics, in everything that you could look at. The only place I have found that there's distortionless, in a way, teachings is the original freedom teachings that were brought through our beloved speaker Ashiana, through our beloved speaker 2, well, John the Baptist or Azan, Michael, and beloved speaker 3, Mac, right? And
Marianne
people,
Calloway. Yeah.
yeah, so They came and they brought the teachings, right? The teachings are not necessarily their teachings. They are not the
Right.
owners of it, right? The
Right.
teachings are a living thing. We are the teachings. We are the embodiment of those teachings that walk here. And that is what freedom teachings provide that I've never seen in New Age, that I've never seen in religion, is that you can embody the truth. You can bring it here. You don't have to look at a God up there. You don't have to wait for
Mhm.
this miracle thing called grace. And by the grace of God, somehow
Right.
you will wake up. No, 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 no. What it is you have the power to be able to tap into the codes within, right? Using Vecca codes, Vecca symbols, the songs that are given. My favorite, one of my favorite one is the Song of Lyra. You know,
Hmm.
the one that goes Maharata kumbai vectai, enevokai uniblium by vectai. Right? If you follow along and you are committed to these teachings and stay impeccable, you will notice that your awakening journey will stop being an awakening journey. You're awake and it becomes an embodiment journey, a journey of um, residing with Source God Creator, residing with everyone around here. You will see that, where am I and where does Anuhazi end? You will see that he is me. I am him. Everyone that I experience are symbols of me. So I need to treat them with respect, with love, but this does not mean letting yourself get walked over because you have to love yourself. So you do not that loving other people is not the new age way of love, light, and clueless, let it,
Yeah.
just love, 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 and light. No, it's discernment too. You need to discern whether or not this individual, that person, this group, this collective, do they have the best intentions for me and everyone around me at hand? If not, practice tough love, right? Because there's four loves: self love, omni love, soft love, and tough love.
Mm-hmm.
Tough love is saying, I love you. I don't have hate for you, but you can stay over there. You know what I mean? I got my frequency shield on. I'm doing my Maharic seal. I'm doing all I got my Akasha seal back here. I'm doing my Crystal River prayer. You can stay over there.
Yeah.
If you want
I
to.
love you, but we're not going to be buddy buddy.
Exactly, exactly. That's it, right? I love
Yeah.
you. I don't have hate for you. I don't blame you. I'm not going to engage in the blame game. However, I love me too. I love my sovereignty. I love my freedom. And I know that interacting and engaging with you will, I don't know, potentially put field influences into my, field if I'm not protecting myself properly. And B, you might try and physically hurt me, because that's the only way if they can't get to you spiritually, they'll try and get to you physically. So be, be cautious. Be cautious with, uh, what is the teacher of what is the speaker or the teacher trying to get me to believe? Are they putting power in me or power out of me? And I promise you, if you look at New Age teaching, a lot of it is putting power to these councils.
Yeah.
These Pleiadian councils, these Arcturian councils, which are secretly Anunnaki collectives that are sending broadcasts
Yeah.
out. Of course, not all Arcturians and Pleiadians are Anunnaki, but a lot of it is Anunnaki. A lot of stuff is a lot of religions is Omicron draconian,
Yeah.
you
Well, I
know?
want to say a lot of these systems are basically taking you away from your Christos, your inner Christos, which is a
Hmm.
primary concept in these teachings that we're all have a vertical connection to Source God. We have this personal Christos of many incarnations and different timelines. And so if you suspect a teaching, a person, a video, or anything, check if it's trying to take you away from that. If it doesn't even mention your inner connection or
Hmm.
because or they trying to feed you a Messiah or Savior uh, system, false light system, which is
Hmm.
basically also taking you away from your inner sovereignty. I am God. I
Hmm.
am sovereign. I am free. That's a
Hmm.
frequency. And I just want to say that a lot of us are going in this journey like you're talking about and describing. Uh, it is our DNA. You're an indigo in this body. That body is your template, and it is your template that is. So, wait, this is not right. Look, oh, I resonate with that. It is your own
Yeah.
body that's going to pull you. We get off course, it's going to pull you back.
Yep.
Your own soul, your own DNA is going to say, "This is
Exactly.
the direction, homie. This is where you want to be." Right, brother?
Hmm. That's a really good way of putting it. Your body, your cells, your DNA resonates with truth. Okay? Of course, I want to put that caveat that we have been in a somewhat Metatronic system, out there, and there's been a lot of Metatronic implants and distortions in the food, in the air, and pretty much everything that we encounter day to day. But inner, inside, there's that purity that remains that knows the truth. You know, a cool thing that you can do, and this is what I started when I was on my journey to begin with, is do the awakening of the inner mentor technique. It's one of the techniques in the freedom teachings. It awakens your inner mentor, right? Which is
Before
like,
you
say,
do the shield, right? Before the Maharic seal, you can
yeah,
do the
yeah,
mentor.
you
Yeah.
can do the mentor, right?
Mhm.
And then Maharic seal or shield. If there's anything you need in life,
That's it.
that is it right there,
Yeah.
Maharic seal. And then as you work your way into flame body, you learn how to do the Ekasha in the Maharic seal. You add the Ekasha into it, and then not only that, it gets to Amareya flame buffer, and then shadow body clearing and all that good stuff. You know, and then you can also do the Emerald Amethyst Awakening as you are beginning your journey, right? And
Hey,
an
brother,
important
can you share with people what workshop they can find those in?
Yeah, actually I can after this is done, I'll send the master,
Yeah.
like there's a master sequence
Okay.
manual that's out there. It has all the workshops, it has all the handbooks that you could possibly need. But I believe the Emerald Amethyst Awakening workshop was in Dance for Life or Dance for Love. It's one of those ones.
Right.
Or it was in sorry, Atlantean and Lemurian Legacies. That's where it was. It was in the Atlantean and Lemurian Legacies disc. That's where you can find the Emerald Amethyst Awakening workshop, meditation or technique.
All right. Thank you. Yeah.
That's over there. So as you progress, right, on this journey, you start to learn dimensional structure. Where we are, we're in 3D, harmonic universe 1. There's harmonic universe 2, 4, 5, 6D. Harmonic universe, that's our soul level. Harmonic universe 3, 7, 5, 7, 8, 9D. Harmonic universe 4, 10, 11, 12. And then harmonic universe 5, or the primal sound fields, where the real ascended masters reign, are all the way up there, the dimensions 13, 14, 15, harmonic universe 5, right? As you
Mhm.
can see in this stack, we find ourselves in harmonic universe 1 in the third D, in the 3D. But human capability is all the way up to 12D. We have that 12 strand genetic template within us. So I urge everybody, and myself included, to try and be as pure as possible in this coming year as you can be. In how you think, in how you talk, and in how you um, interact with people. Even people who aren't the most pleasant to interact with, in a way, we have to share love the best way that we can. For example, let me ask you, Anuhazi, how did your journey begin? Encountering the freedom teachings, and how has it continued to progress along with, you know,
Thank you.
continual
Yeah.
day-to-day progression. You are implementing what you learn day to day. How has
Right.
that changed your life for you? For me, it's made world of impact. I am no
Yeah.
longer, let's say, a suicidal teenager or young
Mhm.
adult. I feel like life is worth it, everything is worth it, and that I'm on this process, to try and reclaim as many of my DNA strands and awareness as I can. So yeah.
Yeah, brother. So you want me to go through that, right?
Yeah, I wanted to hear a little bit of your story, and
Yeah,
how's it.
I thank you. Appreciate that. And
Yeah.
I've similar because I was raised Christian, and so it wasn't until later when I actually went on a truth seeking. Like it wasn't even technically spiritual, but part of it was. I mean, I
Hmm.
just knew something was off, and I got into like Alex Jones. I got into
Yeah.
Carrie Cassidy.
Yeah.
Um, those were the beginning stages, little baby steps. Okay,
Hmm.
which was for a lot of people that can't even get past that. So that there's something wrong with the government, that there's
Yeah.
something wrong with all this different stuff like conspiracy theories, but they're more conspiracy fact than anything else.
Hmm.
But I basically when I found Carrie Cassidy, though, she was a little bit more spiritual. She was talking about ETs and aliens and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, this is really interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so it wasn't until, well, a lot of us know it was in 2010 where Carrie Cassidy made an interview with
Mm-hmm.
Ashiana Ding. And so apparently speaker 2 and 3 was also present. And
Mm-hmm.
so, man, even if I didn't understand all of that high level stuff, it
Mm-hmm.
just truly, I knew this was real, the real thing. I knew it was something that was out of this world. Like literally, I try to explain it to people like, okay, I know this is not from humans, or you could say, I don't
Yeah.
mean angelic humans, but 3D
Mm-hmm.
humans. So as soon as I found out about that interview, I looked up Ashiana's website, the Guardian website.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, there's books. There's
Yeah.
one book. There's two. Okay, I'm getting them. I got the books. And because, like you explained, this is
Mm-hmm.
something that truly I resonated with. Like other belief systems, other teachings was on shaky ground with me. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
feel compelled like it was really the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And so these teachings just rocked my world, and it just was a series of changes and like transformations I had to go through losing a lot of my 3D shit, man. I mean, I
Yeah.
had to lose my house. I had to lose my belongings. I was homeless. I had to go through all of this. My soul
Yeah.
needed me to go through this and
Mm-hmm.
to drop all that, which I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't serving me. So I found this as, wow, a new beginning, a new
Mm-hmm.
path. And then man, I learned how to heal myself. I learned how to notice all the distortions in the world, the distortions in friendships and relationships and families. And then I started learning about all the Anunnaki races, not the
Uh-huh.
Zachary Ascension point of view, but
Mm-hmm.
from an actual, not a Inky Enlil Marduk point of view, but these are races, these are lineages, these are family
Yeah.
lines. And so when they were being referred to as fallen angels, it just made sense to me what really was a fallen angel.
Yeah.
And so, then I said, okay, this is serious to me. This is important to me. I started opening a YouTube channel. I started teaching the basics that I knew. But even as I was teaching, I was still learning. I had so
Yes,
much to go through.
exactly.
2022, 2023,
Yeah.
wow, big changes. 2024, OMG, 2025, and here we are, 2026, man.
Yeah.
And I just know it's going to just keep on
It
growing.
just builds. It builds on itself, right?
Yeah,
And the thing is like, I am by no means somebody who's gone through every workshop,
me
and
either,
done
right?
all that. But I'm making the attempt, I like do them all because I feel so compelled to, and I want to be able to speak better upon the teachings and share more pure of the truth to the people that I encounter. And even if it's that one person you touch, right? It's just
Mm, yeah,
I it's really for myself. But if I can help people along the way, that's awesome too. That's
yeah.
kind of where I'm at. Like I never thought I would be making a podcast. I just one day Nikki has a really nice Telegram group chat for new people, newcomers, right? And she hosts these Christic clinics. So I went into one of the Christic clinics and I was like, okay, let me ask her if she wants to do a podcast. I don't know why, but I feel like I should ask. And she's like, you know what? I've been thinking about doing a podcast for a while. Let's do it. Then, and then I made
Amazing how
music.
that works, right?
Yeah. And then it just worked out. And I like to also give a big shout out to Nikki because she's helped me so much on my journey, my individual journey. Like she's such an amazing indigo too out there. That is really standing strong day to day. And I'm doing my best as well. And we all
Could
are doing our best.
could you explain some of the things she covers on her channel?
So Nikki's channel, she creates actually meditations, like recreates the meditations from the workshop sometimes. And actually she goes into each workshop individually and she'll explain, okay, tangible structure of the soul. Here they are. Here are the meditations. This is what they do. Huva body scan, Becha Huva body scan. This is what they do. This is what you can expect. So she goes into the teachings in depth and creates her, explanations of it. And together right now, our main project is the podcast that we do, Echoes of the Eternal Flame. So we kind of meet together and we talk about what should we discuss next? You know, what is Spirit putting on our hearts? And then we gather those together, we make our notes, and then we
Yeah.
go from there. You know, um,
Well, I think many of us need to do that, brother. I think a lot of us,
mhm,
like this isn't one person's job. Many
yeah,
of us have this something to bring to the table.
exactly.
They call that a split and a shield, but
Hmm.
hey, man, we're still here.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
still indigo homies here. There's still
Hmm.
leaders here. There's still Christic teachings
Hmm.
here. It's not game over. And
Of course.
people will try to use that as try
It's,
to demonize this teaching, but you can't demonize unity consciousness.
you
You
can't
can't
exactly.
demonize Christ consciousness or Omni love, brother. Good try. Good try. Yeah.
Exactly. And not only that, it's um people want to look for anything wrong in the teachings and in your words and in what you're trying to say, you know? Maybe I'm not the best explainer of it, you know, but I'm trying my best here. You don't have to like it, you know? And the thing is, freedom teachings can bring out things in your life, as you mentioned, where you start to lose stuff, where you have to start shedding stuff, and where you start to see certain things in people that you do not want to accept. You know, you start like I had to lose all my friends of 10 years. I said I'm done because I see how you guys speak. I see how you guys treat people. I see what you're all about really now from a real lens that says,
And it no longer resonates with you.
yeah, not at all. You know, I don't like how you talk about people. I don't like making fun
Yeah.
of people. I don't like joking around like that
Yeah.
about somebody. You know, they're a human being that I love so
Mhm.
dearly, you know? And you start to notice losing friends. You start to notice even separation between your family and stuff. But ironically enough, as you continue on your journey, you start to see changes in the people
Mhm.
around you. You start to see changes in your friend circle, in your family members as well. Because if we are all one, and that's what I believe, we are all one. What I do work on myself is not only A, helping the indigo shield, it's also helping the human morphogenetic field and shield. It's also helping the guardians as well as I am one of the ground people for them.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your
Both of us.
work, your
Yeah.
work impacts
Yeah.
so many levels of reality and um um so much more, especially the grids of earth than you realize. You know what I mean? One awakening indigo is more powerful than I would say a million FAs that try,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
mess like one awakening indigo, or awakening angelic human. And that's why they're afraid of you. Really, everything that you encounter when it comes to, let's say, demonic or Luciferian or negative, it's out of fear of what you're capable of. It's out of fear of you. Yeah, you right there. You're wonderful. And I want everyone to remember that. I want people to recognize that. I need you. As much as you may think that you need me, as much as you may you think we all need each other. You know, we all need each other. And I want people to do this one little mind trick. What I do is, how is my state of consciousness? A cool way that I learned is through your breath. Is it erratic? Is when this person is speaking to me, is my breath changing in a erratic way? Am I holding my breath? Am I holding back a bit? Right? And this is, or when I'm speaking with this person, is my breath deeper? Is my breath calmer? Is my breath feeling more loving and nourishing? Because your breath is your link to source, you know? That is kind of, I've never got to the lotus breath yet of the freedom teachings, but I've heard stories of when you start to do that lotus breathing and when you start to breathe properly, your connection will start to change more and more. See, freedom teachings are an incremental buildup on itself. You start with
Yeah.
Kathara. You start with Kathara, dimensional structure, your
Mhm.
Kathara grid. Then you go from there. I like to tell people go to the tangible structure of the soul one, right? We had a guest. Her name was Vicky. She came and she's an amazing Christic being from Kenya, and we
Wow.
interviewed her,
Yeah.
and she was telling us her journey and her story because she started Christian as well. You know, and we're sitting there, and she was talking about how she started from the beginning. And I'm taking her, I took that advice. You start from the beginning, start at the tangible structure of the soul, then work your way through to Architects of Light, the Indigo podcast, where she's talking about indigo children. Then you start to incrementally work your way up, you'll do, there's the Holy Grail workshop, then there's the Dance for Life, Dance for Love, and Dance for Freedom. If there's any three
Yeah.
workshops I recommend you guys check out, it's the Dance for Life, the Dance for Love, and the Dance for Freedom. Because
Mhm.
that is where Flame Body starts to get introduced. And again, going back on it builds upon itself. For example, when I ran across Christos' avatar and I seen this guy talking about the Anunnaki or this is, and I'm like, wait, he's right though. He's right. I agree with him. Everyone I know is talking positive about Anunnaki. Everyone I know, and then especially when you talked about the inner Christos, you know, that resonated with me. And then when you talked about the history that was going on, right? The 250 billion years ago and the
Yeah.
fall that occurred, and it builds upon itself.
Mhm.
Look where I am now, back to when I was first learning.
Yeah.
I can in a way explain or express the Christ in my way.
Right.
You know, and that's what the call here is for everyone listening. How are you gonna express the Christ in your
Right.
life? Because who else will? Honestly speaking, we live in a time where there's so few authentic Christic beings out there. And I'm not saying that as like a negative thing, it's just truth. It's very few Christic beings, even within the Christic community.
Right. Right.
Like you will find people who are still in the blame game, who are
Right.
still just focusing on not the correct things, in my opinion. It's my opinion, though. Again, you don't have to agree with it or not, right? And they're trying to convince you to believe this or see this or do that. No, you come to your own interpretation.
Hmm.
And
Well,
as you do that, you will realize, oh, well, 12 ANRs, 12
well,
attitudes.
it's fundamental, bro. When someone
Yeah.
breaks the unity consciousness, they start
Hmm.
judging you.
Hmm.
Okay, those are fundamental, simple
Yeah.
kindergarten lessons. We don't judge.
Yes.
We can disagree, and like you mentioned earlier, we can still love each other if we disagree,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
I'm not here
And
to
then,
convince you. You can't beg, borrow, or steal your ascension. You got to do the work. You have to do it, right? So
and I wanted to go back to those 12 ANRs, the 12 attitudes and responsibilities, right? In the freedom teachings. These are
there's
these are the
12 of
core.
each. There's
Yeah,
12
12.
responsibilities and 12 masteries. So yeah.
Yeah. So I would like to just say them real quick. These are the attitudes to have. Love, right? Recognizing oneness of all things. Grace, allowing others to be as they are and practicing perpetual forgiveness. And yourself too, You need to have grace for yourself and others. Practice perpetual forgiveness. Gratitude. But I want to say something. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting. It's not forgive and forget. I forgive you, but I remember what you did, and I'm gonna keep that in mind if you come around me. Gratitude, appreciating life and your own existence. Reverent respect, acknowledging and honoring the divine in all. Responsibility, co creating reality and being able to respond to life. Trust, believing in the power and love of all one. Accountability, being truthful with yourself and the universe. And impeccability, this is mine for 2026. Upholding and protecting your highest truth. There we go. We got it up there. Um, Mindfulness, loving, nurturing, and being attentive to the present moment. We hear in New Age, be mindful, be mindful. This is mindfulness. You love, you nurture, and you're attentive to the present moment because in the present moment is source that exists always. Fearlessness, recognizing your eternal infinite nature and unconditional love of one, of the all oneness. Engaged detachment is permitting the all oneness to be without assigning critique and condemnation or value judgment, understanding the isness of and validating the all oneness. Or in an easy way to understand this, allowing reality to unfold without judgment or critique. That's engaged detachment. Joy, choosing to embody the all oneness. And these are the attitudes. There are responsibilities that come with it as well. The responsibilities have a bit of a longer definition, so I'll just go into what they are real quick. Self-actualization, self-sovereignty, self-containment, self-discipline, self-love, spiritual integrity, right? Appreciation, patience, kindness, conservation, cooperation slash diplomacy, and sense. Me and Nikki did go and that was like our first podcast was the 12 ANRs because these are rooted principles of freedom teachings.
Fundamental.
Fundamental. As fundamental as your Maharic seal, these which if you start to hold these attitudes and responsibilities and you start to make, let's say, mindful actions and decisions, you will notice a change in your life beyond words could describe.
And notice they're all positive. Like
Hmm.
if you're in religion, you're gonna learn some stuff like fear and
Hmm.
guilt and
Hmm.
shame. Does that resonate with you, holy ones? Right?
Hmm.
What about love? Does that resonate with you? Impeccability,
Hmm.
mindfulness, that should
Hmm.
resonate, right, brother?
Exactly. It resonates and when you look at it, it's like how to be the most human, like
Yeah.
the core of humanity. You know, that is what we were doing, and we were always doing before, the distortions that occurred. And I wanna go into Atlantis here and Lemuria real quick. Atlantis and Lemuria, because many people have memories of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Many, many, many of
that's
us do.
actually part of all humans have incarnated. It's our
Hmm.
third strand. So
Yeah, yeah,
go
Atlantis and
for it.
Lemuria, right? During these times, what happened in Atlantis and Lemuria were absolute violations of the Emerald Covenant, of um humans. We got massacred by Leviathan invasion forces, led by somebody called Toth. And the reason I mentioned Toth is because there are certain people out there. I don't want to drop names, but let's say a Billy Carson who's who's teaching about Toth and stuff, right? You know,
Praising Toth.
yeah, praising Thoth and
Yeah.
and all this stuff, and people are following along and say, "Oh wow, go read the Emerald Tablets of Thoth."
Millions,
Yeah,
millions of people. Yeah.
yeah, right. There's a reason why his teachings are coming now. There's a reason why all of these FA stuff is being ramped up. There's a reason why America invaded Venezuela. There's still the FA drama that they're trying to play out. But you right there, Anuhazi, me, and everyone else who are actively choosing peace and freedom, we are combating their agenda. Okay? Understand this. No being has power over you unless you allow them to, unless you give them the ability to, you know?
It's all
And
about consciousness, right? I mean, you
mm-hmm,
use consciousness to, this is peacefully.
yeah,
It's not about weapons or war.
yeah. And be wary of these archangels, you know? How many years am I gonna tune into one of those, new age channeling? The light has won, and everything is gonna be good, and we will come meet you and see you and
That's the Love,
really,
Light, and Clueless movement.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Oh, I am Archangel Michael, and I am here to tell you this and this and this. No, man, stop. Like for a second, stop and breathe, guys.
Also, please pay attention. Mike L.
Yeah,
Ariel.
yeah.
There's a pattern.
L.
Gabriel.
Mhm.
What's L,
El,
right?
El, like I don't know. To me, it sounds like Anu Elohim connection
Yes, it's
and
the
rooted.
L family. Yeah.
Yeah, right. The Anu. Actually, the healing, the healer that I was going to, that when I was needing spiritual healing and I didn't know how to give it to myself. You can only heal yourself, by the way, guys.
Right.
Source is the only healing thing, and you can facilitate source within yourself. And say you're providing a service to somebody else. You're just the facilitator. You are
Facilitator.
not
Yeah.
yeah, you are not the healer of you can't heal anybody else. Only God, source can.
Your own healer. You're your
Hmm.
own healer. So
Yeah. This goes back to the healer that I had. I was talking to her. I'm like, okay, so where do Archangel Michael and them come? She's like, they're from Elohim. Around
exactly.
this time,
That's
or around this time, ironically, I ran across you talking about who the Elohim were.
yeah.
So I was like, hey, yo, I'm not gonna say her name. I'm just gonna call her R. Yo, R. Um, so the Elohim, this is what I just learned about them, and this is what I feel right. And she's like, and it's weird. They get like this cognitive dissonance thing
Mhm.
going on in their brain, where all of a sudden you're attacking them. I'm saying, don't trust like I don't really trust you doing Archangel Michael, and she's like, no. No, he saved me. He was there for me. Like,
That's exposing themselves right there.
yeah,
They just
it-
expose their.
yeah. And that's like, I never went back because that's like, who really? He did. But me and you are talking about your life stuff and things are not going great. They're telling you just be patient. For what? You know? They are making you a puppet for them. You know? You're not being used as a tool to implant people. And and as I did, let's say the J seal removal technique, right?
Mhm.
Where you use the Vecca codes and you start to remove the J seals, right? I saw what was being put into me, and I'm glad I stopped when I did. Being frank,
Wow, that's amazing, brother.
I seen what was trying to be put into. I seen, but
Mhm.
in a way, you know, a lot of us who are still Christic here, I want you guys to understand how grateful you should be to yourself and your inner self, especially your higher self. Because our souls and our oversouls and our Christos avatar levels have been with us, protecting us and guiding us since we were born,
100% for
you
sure.
know, keeping us secured on our path, answering our call, giving us our freedom to explore,
Right.
but also saying, "Hey, this is what you said you were gonna do when you came. When this is what you commissioned to do." I don't like to use the word contract because contract implies obligation, right? Commission is I chose to do this out of free will. That's how I interpret things in my mind. You know, I don't have an issue if anyone uses contract, but in New Age, you start to see, oh, you have a contract to do this, and you have a contract to speak to this person and this being, right?
Bro,
Oh, and
I'm an angel channeler. What are you? You should be listening to
exactly.
me, right?
Yeah, exactly. Or, oh, this ascended master, right?
Right.
Ascended master from the fifth dimension.
And
Fifth.
notice, yeah, what? What's that's a
I,
angel level.
yeah, you know, once you get the dimensional structure, it's like, wait, no, no, no,
Yeah.
no, no. Actually, the true ascended masters,
Mhm.
they don't speak to you through channeling like you think. You know, their communication is through elementals. You will notice them in the wind, in the water that you drink, in the sounds that the silence that isn't silent, you know? Um, that which is like, this is what I like to say, that which is distorted has to scream louder than truth, you know? That they have to scream louder than truth because once you encounter the truth, they're done. They can't do anything. So they have to convince you. They have to convince you that you don't know any better. So this comes. I'm a psychology major at university, by the way, right? And I can tell you one thing that I've learned from learning psychology. It's just a gaslighting tool. It's literally used to tell you what you see and believe is this issue or that issue, or you have this mental problem or that mental problem. Never telling you where the root of it is from. A lot of people's let's say specifically indigo threes, because indigo threes are the ones that are kind of going through it pretty hard mentally, specifically. But that's because the orifeme, you know, within them has to shut down certain aspects so that they can maintain control over, you know, it's not just one Nephilim, because I started as an indigo three. You know, I learned, you know, as an indigo three at the beginning what it really is. It's like multiple, you know, of these Nephilim that are trying to do these bioregenesis, you know, this bioregenesis uh commission, you know, this bioregenesis and trying to get themselves back out, you know, out, let's say, of the phantom control. So your body is the thing that the, let's say, the battle is being fought on. You know, the frequency battle as an indigo 3. So indigo 3s are the ones you'll notice that, you know, they can easily be body snatched because they took on a lot more distortions than an indigo 1 or 2, you know? And even a little bit in my opinion more than an angelic human. So we have to be there for each other, regardless of where you stand. Even if, let's say, you go through the freedom teachings and then you find out that you are a part of the fallen race. You know, say you come from an Anunnaki lineage or a draconian lineage. You have enough of a crystal spark even then that you are going through the freedom teachings. Listen, your lineage doesn't have to determine who you are. To the people
Right.
who, yeah,
It's
your
a
lineage,
it's a fact that you have two DNA patterns and you're going to choose which one you're going to follow.
yeah,
So,
exactly. That's a really good way of putting it. You have two DNA patterns. Which one are you going to
Yeah.
follow?
Yeah.
What do you choose to follow?
It's a conflict that they're trying to fight for that, but you're trying
Hmm.
to heal it. But
Hmm.
sometimes the indigo loses actually.
Yeah.
So,
And that happens. Like
mhm.
the thing is, I'm gonna be real. We have been getting our, let's say, keisters busted
Yeah,
open for a couple
yeah.
of billions of years, or hundred millions of years, at least for sure.
Human seeding one, human
Yep.
seeding two, parallel Earth,
Oh yeah.
and they're kicking our ass here. So,
Yeah. So
so
like, but in the end, you win though.
yeah,
That's
of
what I
course,
mean. In
yeah,
the end,
yeah.
you already have won. The Christ has won in the end. That's what they mean when they say the light has won in the end. Well, first of all, what light are we talking about? Because there's two different types, right? There's the Shalaya living, and then there's the Shona dead light. That Metatronic beings use to give you this vision of light, to veil you. But living light is a bit of a different experience. It clears the way, instead of covers the way. That's how I'd describe it. Yeah, this is a really good conversation. I'm enjoying it.
Hell
I
yeah,
hope
man.
everyone, I
On
hope everyone is,
fire, Christic fire,
yeah, it's the
star,
flame.
fire.
Exactly, Starfire. And I wanted to discuss actually Starfire because that uh, as that this term you'll start to notice in some of the circles is this Starfire process that's occurring. That's the ascension that I believe, right? I don't know too much about Starfire, but it's an ascension because vertical ascension is kind of not possible right now with the things that have been occurring on the channel. But what we have the ability to do is Bardoa out into median Earth, from my understanding of this Starfire ascension cycle. So yeah, like we're not stuck, guys. At the end, I want you to know you are not stuck on this planet. You are not stuck. You are actually freer than you know. And you have to be grateful for the body you have because this is what's actually keeping us protected a little bit from what's going on out there. Because the frequencies are, let's say, in at war. They're really trying out there. So upgrade your protection protocol. A really good one you can do is the Crystal River Prayer. I really like the Crystal River Prayer. I don't know if you've ever encountered that on Anuhazi, but it's an amazing um technique, you know. We
Yeah,
where
there's
you invoke and call upon all the Christic councils, all of them, to come bear witness to you and keep, that little buffer around you to keep you a little bit secure, more secure than you are.
yeah. Hey, brother, are you open to questions? Because we're getting a lot of questions. So,
Yeah, let them go.
all
Shoot. Let's go.
right. Can we use the law of one? I'm sorry, the law of assumption and subliminals, not law of attraction, to help in our ascension? Neville Goddard teachings.
Neville Goddard teachings. Well, law of assumption, like what are you assuming though? If you want to incorporate, say, manifestation techniques, because that's what really Neville Goddard's teachings are to me, is just teaching you how to manifest and use your mental energy. I'd say work with Vecca codes. Yeah, it's good to, envision that you are at this place and that you have this experience and that you're going to get something. It's good to create that, but assuming that is that you're making an assumption that that's going to occur is making a limitation on how, source will play out, in your life, in your creation, how source will assist you in your co-creative. It's best to create that, and understand, that that's a probability possibility for the future. But the best method, in my opinion, is while you're doing that visualization and say using your law of assumption method, also allow room for your higher selves, plural, because you have more than one higher self, to be able to guide and facilitate the direction in which you are trying to, create or, let's say, do your ascension process, right? Um, Everything that you would need for doing that, though, the ascension is in the freedom teachings. I will be honest. You can use the Vecca codes. You can use your 12 ANRs and as well as flame body activation, you know? Once you get flame body to a certain point, you know, you don't need to assume anything. You can kind of think things and you will encounter them in your life, you know? You can create the the inner stairway, you know,
Yeah.
to let's say source, you know, or heaven. You can create that inner stairway. You know, you don't have to assume that it's there. You can create it
Yeah.
because you have the techniques to be able to create so, you know?
Yeah.
I hope
Thank you,
that was a
brother.
sufficient answer.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
There's another simple question. Tell us about cannabis and indigo type 3.
Okay. As somebody who smoked a lot of weed in my life, okay, I'll be honest. Listen, I personally don't smoke marijuana anymore because it creates certain openings in your field. Okay, and especially if you're an indigo 3, right? It can create certain openings in your field in which, let's say the driver, which is your Orifeme, the bus driver, kind of takes a back seat and say Nephilim starts to drive. And it's not just only with cannabis per se, you know? It's with alcohol, you know? It's with drugs as well, and even in certain psychedelic, you know, circles, they can be loose draining parties, you know. So I'd say if for cannabis, I'm not opposed to people smoking it. I'd say you need to upgrade how you let's say pray before you do it. You know, meditate deeply. Do your Maharic seal before you partake or participate in anything, you know, that comes from this planet right now. Because
Mm,
anything that you encounter has distortions in it, you know? And especially as an indigo 3, those distortions will hit harder, you know? Like, let me ask you this as well. Whoever asked that question, when you smoke, you know, when you go light up your doobie, go out and have a smoke, do you get more anxious? Or or sometimes people are like, "Oh, I feel this bliss," you know? But what is that bliss though? You know? Is it true connection or is it just temporary? What I want is the true connection. So, I wouldn't tell you that you're wrong if you smoke weed. I would say just be careful when you're participating in anything that comes from this planet because anything can be a gateway, a doorway,
mm,
even the water that you drink. So a good little technique. And you know, I'll be honest, there are nowadays where I will go smoke a joint because life is getting a little bit stressful. I'll be honest, I'm human just like anyone else, you know?
yeah.
But what I do is I try and beam it. I'm like, okay, you know, like I pray over it or I say a little Shantal Durek. And I try and speak in
Mm,
Anuhazi, the original language, over it to create, let's say, um, a buffer around it so that the
mm,
effects that would be in my field are not as strong or as potent.
yeah.
So if you are going to participate, make sure you're mindful about it. Make sure you understand, hey, if I smoke this, there is a chance that something could try and enter into my field. So let me
Right.
create a protection around it.
Yeah. Yeah, brother, I say the same thing. Whenever you're going to do some type of anything that alters your state, the
Hmm.
first thing you should do before you even consider or do that is make sure your own thought process is
Hmm.
in a positive space. If you're
Hmm.
not, then make sure you get to that space before you partake cannabis, mushrooms,
Hmm.
ayahuasca, whatever.
Yeah.
You, excuse me. Because if you go into that medicine while you're, I think some people are taking it so they feel better, but that's not the what you want
Yeah.
to do. You want
Yeah.
to actually feel better in a positive, blessed state. As our brother said, you want to pray. There's nothing wrong with transmuting that, putting that
Yeah.
affirmation, and to make it a small little ritual.
Hmm. And
So,
and you will see that you can partake in anything in life, you know, as long as you are mindful, as long as you practice those attitudes, you know. And as somebody who also has been on countless psychedelic trips, right? I don't really need to go on a psychedelic trip anymore because I have the greatest one when when I'm in a meditation now, you know, because um be wary of unearned wisdom. That's what these medicines can do sometimes, is give you this sense that you have elevated your consciousness, right? but it's only temporary, for that moment. For some people, there's few people I've encountered where what they experienced in that trip, they never do it again, but they are so completely transformed in a way that is unspeakable. So again, I usher discernment
Yeah.
in anything that you do. Even in this water that I'm drinking, right? Try and breathe pale silver D12 frequency into it
Mhm.
to purify it.
Mhm.
Because everything around here, even on our screens right here, this can be a
Right.
gateway. So put a Vecca code behind it or be mindful. But yeah,
Yeah. It's kind
right.
of like a Christic alchemy, you know?
Yes, exactly. Hmm.
Here's another one. What's the true story of Christ and whose blood was it that they found at the site where supposedly Jesus or Yahshua or whatever the Messiah's name is?
Okay, I actually know this a little bit. There was three. There's the story of the Bible is about three people. And when you read it again, as I read it again, I can see the three people, okay? There's the one who got crucified. That's Arahabi. Arahabi was a man who got a vision from the Anu Elohim, right? Who were working with Jeshua 9 or Jeshiwa 9, right? Jeshiwa, and then there's Jeshua 12, right? Jeshua 12, if you go read the real Christmas story, was an avatar. Christos avatar was known back then, especially by his parents. They knew this was an avatar child that they were bringing into this world. Jeshua 12 was here to, let's say, purify certain lineages that needed human lineages and bring back D12, become a D12 avatar back then.
Tell
Because there
him
were
who his real parents were too, by the way, bro.
Josiah and I forgot their names. I forgot
But
their names, but his parents were not Joseph and Mary. It was
right.
Josiah, that was the dad, and then what was the name of the lady? I think it was Judy.
She was a Ceres Egyptian too.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
he's bringing in two bloodlines for a reason.
yeah.
So yeah,
And they were part of that group of people. I always forget.
Essenes,
Yeah,
Essenes.
Essenes, right? The
Yeah.
Essenes. There wasn't a Essene divide that occurred. But anyways, Jeshua 12 was here to anchor that. He was the D12. He was the one who, in my opinion, was at the Mount Sinai teaching and telling them, love each other. Love others as who you are. Then there's Jeshua 9. He's the one who went and got disciples. He's the one who went out and was in front of Rome and kind of created some enemies, to follow him. So Anu Elohim, the people who he was working with. So Joshua 12 was working with the guardians, right? The
Behind the
Elohai,
scenes. He
yeah,
wasn't
behind the
public.
scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was behind the scenes doing his thing in
Yeah.
Egypt, doing all of his good work. Joshua 9 was the one who was in the public talking,
Yeah.
talking, talking his big talk, right? Who was
Mhm.
part of the Anu Elohim line. What ended up happening is Rome did not like what Joshua 9 was saying, so they were going after him. They were trying to get him. So what the Anu Elohim did is made a promise to this guy named Arahabi that he's supposed to die for the sins of everyone, or whatever it is that they told
Mhm.
him. And then he went up and he's the one who got crucified. Why do you think at the final words, right? If it was a real Christos avatar that was on the cross, right?
Yeah, bring it
He
on,
would
brother.
he would never say, "Father, Father, why have
Right.
you forsaken me?"
Right.
Okay? That is a clear sign of a person who was manipulated to be up there, in my opinion. Who was like, "What the heck? I did not expect to be up here like this," you
Mhm.
know? So, and then Joshua 12, he did ascend out through the halls of Amente in Egypt. He went out because,
Yeah.
unfortunately, there was something that occurred with his twin flame, right? Where
Yeah.
his twin flame ended up falling into the
Mhm.
hands of the Anu
Which can
Elohim.
happen, which does happen.
Yeah, which
So,
happens. Like, guys, Metatron, or the being Jehovah, they were an entity that was beyond 12D, right? What
yeah.
ended up happening is they sent too much of their portions of consciousness into the Matrix, say for a
Mhm.
salvage mission, right? And then it took the whole collective down. So like, um, we are so interconnected
Right.
that we need to recognize that. And also remember this though, Joshua 12 is there. He is working with many people out there. And when they say call on the name of Jesus, Joshua will answer the call. I promise that. I know from my own experience, Joshua 12 is such
Uh,
a loving being.
Many
One of
people
our
have had
brothers.
experiences with calling his name out in dire
Hmm.
times, and it actually worked.
Yeah.
Jeshua. This is frequency, this is energy, this is a
Hmm.
powerful Christos avatar.
Hmm.
According to the Guardians, he was the last 12 strand
Yep.
awakened avatar. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and
Um,
by the way, there was no immaculate conception in either
yeah.
pair.
Yeah, yeah, it was a regular old.
Uh,
They took out their things. They,
uh,
there was the whole process
mm,
of, sexual reproduction that occurred. It wasn't this God just beamed a baby into her,
right. Yeah.
Listen, creator will use the mechanics that it created to create, you know? It won't go outside of what it like, you know, we conceive on this planet, and that's how it's going to be done through the fetal integration process. That's how Joshua came in.
Yeah.
And instead of saying the word Jesus, I say yes, us. Yes, us. We are the Christ. Yes, us. We are the
Mm,
Christ. That's a little phonetic thing, that you can switch up how you interpret things. But
yeah. I want to say that the 12th dimensional level of consciousness is
mm,
Christ consciousness. Jeshua, Sananda, Melchizedek, our brother,
mm,
is coming from that 12th dimensional level and
mm,
reminding all of us we're all children of God,
mhm.
not just
And
the chosen ones.
yeah, ugh, the chosen one thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my God, don't get me started on the chosen one. But the thing that's interesting and cool is when you reach that D12 from stories and even from little glimpses when I'm in my Maharic seal, right? That D12 frequency, it is this almost all-knowing feeling that we are all one. I can't put words on it. You know, Eh, there are times where I would lay in my bed, stare at the ceiling, and I'll be like, "Where am I? Like, where do I end? Where do I begin?" You
Mm.
know, it's where, let's say, consciousness, the labels and walls that we put in between disappear. You know, and you really recognize that Creator is in all, and you see that. That's all you see.
And
You
we've
know?
always been connected. No matter if you fall down, and there's plenty of narratives out there saying you're separate from God. Sorry, that's impossible. You can't be separate from the law of one, right? So,
Yep. Yep. And is there any more questions out there?
yeah, and I want to
Uh,
ask, brother, how
yeah.
much time do you have?
I don't have as much time as necessary.
Okay, just want to check.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if we already covered this. It exists the real version of Michael, Archangel, oh, or this fallen version is an imposter. So I guess
Yes.
they're asking if there's a real one, and then
Yeah,
it makes
there's
it,
there's this concept out there that I've heard of a Christic Mikael. You know what I mean? And I can only imagine that there is probably a Christic Michael out there.
of
It's just the
course.
one it's just the one that we encounter is not. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? The
Hmm.
one, right? For example, Archangel Michael is, oh man, I don't like these. These are the one FA collective that just gives me heebie-jeebies. This is the Omicron, Necromaton and Dramis. They're the ones behind the Archangel
Right.
Michael stream, right? They're like these
It's not even a real
insects.
being. It's not
Yeah,
even,
it's
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 a fabrication of this insect weird alien being.
yeah, exactly. It's a fabrication. So Archangel Michael's is not even a real being out
Right.
there named Archangel Michael. I can imagine that there is a divine masculine force out there
Of
that is
course.
Christos Michael,
Hmm.
the Christic Michael or Christic Uriel or Christic this, But remember that it's counterfeit, right? That's what they do. The FA create a counterfeit of the truth, right? So,
Well, that's their technique. They use a lot of our names
mhm,
and reverse them into a false light system. So now
mhm,
we're
yeah.
uh, confused about what this is, right?
Mhm. And so yeah, I can only imagine that there is an acrostic Michael out there. I've heard many people talk about it, you know. I've never encountered it myself, But then again, the only I choose not to even like I know there are guardian beings out there that can communicate telepathically, and
Of
that I have
course.
communicated telepathically with in the past. But I've learned that I can communicate with myself telepathically, so that's who I choose to speak with first and foremost, is with me, right? And then if there is, say, a guardian who would want to speak, right? They are not gonna say, "Hey, go sit there and close your eyes," and they're not gonna do that little whole take over your body thing. They would
Yeah.
just they would give you a sign either in a song, either through a shift in the breeze out there, in a way that you would know. You will know when it's guardian, and you will know when it's not.
And
Okay?
they won't come to you as an authority.
Yeah.
They won't come to you as a savior, you know, on a more equal basis,
hmm
correct?
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Okay, I'll tell you a story. About a year ago, I encountered an Iani, inner, within, right? And I had a lot of like, I was like, I don't trust this. I don't know what's going on. You know what's going on here, right? So then, I just asked a few questions, and there was just one thing that came. Um, and we're not here to tell you what you to do. We're not here to necessarily guide you. Just go check out the Dance for Life module. I was like, okay, fine. I'll go check out the Dance for Life module. Wow. I was like, okay, I get it. Thank you. And I just said my gratitude. You know, that little stuff like that. It's not telling me what to do. It's saying, oh, you have your freedom, but I have a recommendation.
right.
You know, you're having a bit of a hard time in this area, so why don't you go check out the Dance for Life? You know? And
Yeah.
I've also encountered myself. And the interesting cool
Like a
thing is
higher
when,
self, you mean?
yeah, interesting cool
Yeah.
thing is it'll look like you, but just bigger. It'll look like
Uh,
me as I am here, but like much
yeah.
bigger. I would say if he was standing in my room, it'd be at the roof. And my
Yeah.
roof is about like 9 feet tall, you know? And I encountered it while I was, you know, I had my eyes open, you know what I mean? It's like an inner vision. I could see it here, but my eyes are looking out there, you know?
Right.
This is multidimensional cognition that we all have that is
Mhm.
starting to awaken. Okay, that's why I want to be real. That's why this AI thing is everywhere. It's to hijack your multidimensional cognition. I say there's nothing wrong with using it a little bit for, let's say, creative purposes, not to fully create. For example, I have an album coming out. I have no ability to draw, so I was like, okay, I'll put in some prompts and get an album cover created. Like stuff like that. You know, but what people are trying to do now is use AI to overtake the creative function of human, you know? Or let's say people, the FAs, that's their agenda.
Yeah. It's a form of transhumanism, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a what's it called? Transposition of race identity.
Yeah.
That's the term, right?
Well,
So
they
yeah.
want us to put this thing with Neuralink on our head. They want us to be cybernetic. They want
hmm
us to be something other than these angelic human.
hmm
So,
because AI has one thing it's afraid of, right? Artificial intelligence is afraid of one thing. It is source because source is unpredictable. AI can predict, actions very easily, but a being that has source consciousness is absolutely unpredictable. That's the fear of the FAs is like, okay, humans have so far been very easy to predict, but oh my God, there's that guy who's awake over there, and I can't predict what he's gonna do next because he's not going to act from a linear perspective. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's not going to be lines. It's going to be
Yeah.
like, oh, I feel something there. I'm going to drop it down here. It's more of a spiral, you know?
Yeah.
And one thing I wanted to say is make sure people that anybody who's tuning in, you have an understanding of Merkaba. Your Merkaba is going to be very important. And your Merkaba and being able to perceive Merkaba is how you are going to be able to tell whether a being is reversed or not.
And
Because,
there's also false Merkaba teachings out
yeah,
there.
yep. Yeah, specifically, again, coming from the Toth line, right? The Toth line, they love to teach you about Merkaba because that's what Toth is doing right now. He's in his Merkaba, his limited one, his confined Merkaba, and just looking around, trying to get as many more souls as he can, right? So your
Mhm.
Merkaba is like your light sound one vehicle, right? Merkaba or no, sorry, that's Kathara. Light sound one is Kathara. Healing.
Katara.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kathara.
Yeah.
But your Merkaba is your light vehicle. Yeah. Any more questions here? Oh, I'm ready. I'm on a roll here, so we can keep going.
Um, let me see. Okay, so angel and demon in the same body is so crazy, but we can become type one, right?
Indigo type ones are the rarest. I'd say from an Indigo 3, it would be you'd move up to an Indigo 2. Indigo type ones have walk-in situations that
Mhm.
occur. Most indigo type ones, because they have capacity all the way up, I believe, to 48 strands, if I'm not mistaken, or 24 strands. I know that for sure. So I'm not gonna go further than that. But because they have such immense genetic capability, a human body won't necessarily be able to sustain that. So what happens is a soul incarnates in for an indigo one, and then they live the life until a certain age point where there's a walk-in, a shift that occurs where the Christos avatar level drops in into that body and now has become the predominant personality that is speaking, right?
Yeah.
And then that the one who lived in the body and continued with it kind of like their memories are still there for the one who comes in, so they remember everything, but that one is on a different journey and moves out. So
Yeah.
in Indigo 3, what ends up happening is once you finish, I believe, your, say, Nephilim, you get an upgrade in your genetic capability. So you're no longer, say,
Hmm.
running that reverse base 10 or base 11, and now you're just running that pure 12 to 24 strand content, you know? And I know for a fact that there's a lot of Indigo 3s that are getting that upgrade because
Hmm.
because um
What
because
happened in your
the
life?
yeah, because the Nephilim, many of them don't want to actually bioregenerate. It was actually a plan to try and hijack
Right.
as many indigos as they can, right? So
Right.
once that's recognized, right, there's some that still do. Like, I'll be honest, the ones that I had to deal with, they learned what they needed to learn. I could sense that, so they moved on,
Yeah.
right? So then as I finished, I'm like, okay, what's next, right? So that's why you see me speaking out here in front of people instead of dealing with the, you know, the storm, man. I understand that storm heavily, like it can get hard. And remember this Indigo 2 still have a little bit of those traumatic lineages, but not as much, you know? And your function once you go from an Indigo 3 to an Indigo 2 is you're now a grid worker and you're a healing facilitator and you are a Christic co-creator, you know? And then indigo ones, these ones, you would rarely encounter one because they're
Right.
very reserved and they need to keep as pure a frequency as they can. So I say imagine the ones who choose to go meditate somewhere quietly for hours,
Right.
by themselves. They're anchoring loads of those frequencies.
Hmm.
And then if you have an indigo one twin flame pair, oh, that's like we're grateful for that.
Yeah.
Okay, like
Yeah.
Christic indigo one twin flame pair because they're holding gigantic um fields and buffer zones for everyone else. You are
Yeah.
too, right? Don't think that. Oh, I need to be an Indigo 1 or an Indigo 2 if you're an Indigo 3. No, 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 no. Your function is just as valuable. There's no one greater than the other. A true Christic will understand that. If
Yeah.
I'm an Indigo 1, I'm not greater than you because you're an Indigo 2 and I have more DNA
Right.
strands. That's fallen mindset, right?
Right.
That's what the fallen believe, right? So I'd say I've never got to the Becha Huva body scan, right? I'm like maybe at Amarea buffer on my flame body journey. But once you get to the Betchahuva body scan, that's where you'll get your spiritual name. That's where you'll understand what your lineage is, okay?
Hmm.
Where you hail from, for example, I've never got to there, but I know I'm a Lyran. I was there 250 billion years ago during the fall of Erminton. I was there.
Hmm.
Maybe you were there. I know many of us were there and we're here now. So you have great potential regardless of where you feel like you lack. You have immense potential, and there's no lack. Okay, in the Christic world, we do not lack. We have all that we need when
Yeah.
we need it.
Yeah. And I also want to say for that person who asked that question that the indigo type ones, like you said, are it even says in Voyagers, they're always a walk-in.
Yeah.
So what that is it's a smaller avatar who's literally preparing the body for the future walk-in. So because the indigo type one can't bring all that consciousness until that body's been prepared. So that's why a walk-in is required. But also in the grand scheme of ascension, indigo ones will eventually become indigo twos. Indigo twos will eventually become
Mm-hmm.
indigo
Mm-hmm.
ones, and that's just. a normal part of
Yep.
consciousness on Earth. I
Yes.
mean, in this time matrix. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's a constant building up process, okay?
Mhm.
Don't feel like, oh, I'm no good because I'm an Indigo 3 and I have a
Right.
Nephilim. Like, no, like I can't express this enough as somebody who began Indigo 3. You're so valuable, especially because you're gonna have a deep understanding of fallen consciousness,
Mm.
how they work, how they think, and their control structures. Okay, how they want to control.
Yeah.
Right? That's why nowadays, I can go into a mall, I can go into public spaces and speak my truth because I know how to get it across. You know what I mean? And doesn't in your truth, you don't have to do it in freedom teaching language. You know, all you're trying to do is remind people of love. All you do and all the function of anybody who's here is remember when everyone else forgot, guys. That's why we're here to remember and hold that remembering where others have forgotten because you function as a beacon to source. You know,
Yeah, we're
you're a
supposed to
beacon.
be like the way showers, the trailblazers. We're the
Hmm.
ones holding that Christic frequency.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
And
go ahead,
yeah,
brother.
I was gonna say next question. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, it looks like I'm a type 3, but I've been activated from a twin flame dynamic since 2021.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's a question or
Or maybe just a statement. That's cool though. I mean,
oh, maybe it's continuation of that
mhm.
indigo type 1 question, but
Yeah.
yeah, there is no competition. That is actually, typical of the false light. Who's
Yeah.
that's where hierarchy comes from. That's where elitism comes in. Christic beings don't compare. Everything's equally intrinsically. You can have beings who can hold more consciousness. It doesn't mean they're better. At the end of the
Hmm.
day, it's all source, baby. What's up, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's all that. And then your personal connection matters most. Okay.
Hmm.
And then eventually you will encounter your twin at some point in your journey, and then you will be able to see your love in them. You'll be able to see source love in them. You'll be able to experience even higher levels of union, all the way back until, guess what? We go and merge with source for a bit. And guess what? I can't wait till that comes. I'm gonna be like, okay, I don't know how long my journey will take till I get back there, but I'll be like, hey God, I'm gonna just stay here for a couple trillion years. I don't want to go back in any matrix, please. You know? But that's just because we hold a lot, like us indigos and angelic humans, we hold a lot of guilt imprint. We blame ourselves for everything that went down for billions of years. All the horrendous atrocities. We blame ourselves. And guess what? You shouldn't
Yeah.
blame yourself. There's no one to blame. At the end of it, there's things to recognize, but there's no blame
Hmm.
to be put. It's a gigantic experiment,
Hmm.
and this just happens to be the direction the experiment went into. But as long as I maintain myself, my eternal identity, um, I want to tap into that heroic probability, bring all my selves back together, and then out. Right? But we have a bit of a process. From my understanding, we go to a future Earth time band, after this one, and then we go from there. We'd go back to Tara, Gaia, Aramentena,
Yeah.
back home. Because we are gonna take the steps that our consciousness took to get down here, back up there. That's just how things work.
Yeah, that's actually what an ascended master is. It's an Ayani or it's a Yanis being who comes in all the way through the dimensions
Hmm.
and then comes right back out, ascends back out. Now it's an
Hmm.
ascended master, so
Yeah, yeah,
not some 5D spirit
yeah,
guide or something,
yeah.
right?
And this 5D stuff is a big distortion, y'all.
Yeah.
Understand this, not even understand, understand that 5D is not where the most
Right.
purest beings exist. In fact, there's so much distortions, and like just go into your astral plane real quick, into your dream world real quick, and you will
Mhm.
see that there's whoa, 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 whoa. No, 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 no,
Well, but actually, people think that there's only darkness and maybe a little bit of 4D and everything else is divine, but
no.
you'll learn that there's actually distortion all the way up to the 11th dimension. So,
Yeah, 11.5. And even like there gets like Dance for Love is the program where where Ashiana goes into the Metatronic, right?
yeah.
You can even learn that 11.5D is where everything stops. But even a little bit past it, it can drop down depending on how the consciousness that's stationed in the matrix from that Giannis council is, right? So we can even have ascended master collectives councils that fall. Not very often though. It's very rare. So that's not like a big thing, but you gotta
Well, that's
understand.
what, well, you mentioned Metatron. That's one of the ones that
Yeah,
did fall.
yeah, that
They're part of
Metatron.
this outside. They chose to put in too much of their consciousness to help, you would say, heal the falling Anu Elohim, but that just they got stuck down here when they did that. Now
Mm.
everyone's praising these beings along with Archangel Michael, the Galactic Fed, and Thoth,
Oh,
and all these popular, you would say, false light. So
yeah. And the thing is, they're actively chose to against freedom, Emerald Covenant, right? The freedom teachings. They are actually in direct opposition to you.
mhm.
They don't want you to wake up. The last thing they would want is humans waking up, indigos waking up, because
They're
indigos would
afraid of
realize,
that.
yeah, the indigos would realize, and humans would realize, wait, we have D12 genetic strand capability, and they only have 11.5.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, they think in that way, right? They think, oh, they feel inferior secretly, but they don't realize they created that inferiority through their decisions. They could, well, I was say inferiority, but they created that feeling because of how they chose to make certain decisions. Like you don't choose to blow up gate 12 and expect that, everything is going to work out, right? And even in the FAs, there's like different levels of fallen, right? So there's the fallen, then there's the Wisa fallen, which is the irreversible fall, and then there's the ascending path, right?
Mhm.
So keep in mind, even if you find yourself that you are in this falling path, as long as you're not at that point of no return, and trust me, it's very hard to get to that point of no return. But as long as you still are, you know, aware, able, you know, you can reverse it. You can reverse the reversals. They're not permanent. Even if you do find yourself falling into a black hole, unfortunately, you don't have to choose to participate in the way that they choose to, operate in their game. You know, you don't have to. You have the freedom to make your own choice. You really do. You know, you have the freedom, and that's freedom teachings 101. You have a choice. What do you
Yeah,
choose?
the Guardians call it the divine gift of free will. All beings have that
Mm-hmm.
ability to choose. We
Mm-hmm.
can't put the blame on anyone else. We made those distortions, bad choices. Now it's comes into a little bit of a karmic healing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we have planetary karma, race karma, personal karma.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say
Galactic
karma.
karma.
Yeah.
It's
So
like
here's a,
so.
here's another one, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm pretty new and
Mm-hmm.
started the MCEO Freedom Teachings. At what point do I remember who I am? I don't know what I am. Good question, Joe. Thank you for
That's a
asking.
really good question. So I'd say first start on getting your Maharak seal going, and just keep starting with that Maharak seal and the 12 attitudes of responsibility. Sorry, 12 attitudes and responsibilities of mastery, the ANRs. And as you proceed that, right, from everyone that I've spoken to, at the Becha Huva body scan is when you start to get who I am, where's my lineage, or it could be like for me, where it just comes one day. You're meditating, and in this specific meditation, I was upgrading the 12 pointed star into a 24 pointed star. Maybe that's when actually I went from Indigo 3 to Indigo 2 now that I'm thinking about it personally. So as I was doing that meditation, I was like, okay, let me upgrade more points on the star. And then in deep meditation, as I was doing that, afterwards a name came to me. Eya Nate. I'm like, wait, Nate is my name though. Wait for it. Yana. Eya Nate Yana. And I said, whoa, this feels right. So what I did is I used that during using the Song of Lyra. Maharata Kumbhai Eya na Teya na Enevo. And as I did that, something resonated within me. Um, when it comes to knowing your lineage, finding out your lineage, that's a resonance thing that will occur. Are you if you are resonating with the teachings, most likely you are an indigo because the teachings vibrate at that
Yeah.
sixth strand, right? So I can give some guidance and say there's a high likelihood that you are an indigo. Which type, I don't know. But that's for you to discover. That's for you to find out. That's your journey to embark on, beautiful
Yeah, no
soul.
one else can tell you, right?
Yeah, so what is your lineage? I can tell you I'm from Lyran lineage. I knew that before the freedom teachings, though. I knew I was
Yeah.
a Lyran.
Mhm.
I called myself a Lyran starseed back
Yeah.
then, you know. Um, but what resonates for you? Where do you think you come from, and what do you think your lineage is? I can tell you some things for certain. I know most of us were there in Egypt. Most of
Hmm.
us were there in Atlantis. Most of us were there in Lemuria. Most of us were there for the first, second, and third seedings. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, and whether which type of indigo you are, or if you're an angelic human, that's for you to determine. And understand this. It doesn't really matter where you fall and what your lineage is. The most important thing that matters today and right now is how you are connected with source love,
Hmm.
omni love, and how you express omni love in day-to-day life. That is what matters most of all beyond the veil of identity, beyond the veil of these labels that we have, beyond the veil of this matrix. What
Yeah.
matters is how do we express that love which we are and have always been. That was in um, the divine blueprint of our creation. Because once you can tap into your divine blueprint,
Yeah.
you don't even need to be told. It's
It's
just
not
like,
a belief. It's not a hope. It's
yeah,
a cognizance, a
yeah,
knowing.
yes. And this is what faith is. Faith is a knowing. It's not a belief. Faith is knowing and knowing that what I know is true. Therefore, I have faith in it. I have faith in the freedom teaching not because I have belief that it's going to work out. No, because I applied it
Hmm.
and I seen how it's changed my life. It changed my life. It's changed everyone who I've ever truly,
Yeah.
truly embarked on it. And
No.
one last thing from Michael Dean, right, that he would say is spiritual hygiene.
Yeah. I love
Watch your
that term.
spiritual hygiene. Yeah, spiritual hygiene is going to be your best friend. And spiritual hygiene includes your Maharic seal.
Yeah.
Maharic seal, because Maharic seal protects you. Not just you,
Mhm.
it protects you and protects others from you.
And
That's
don't forget
that's
the
how it works.
mentor. Do the mentor,
Yeah,
do
the
the
mentor
heart
too.
seal.
Hmm.
And I would even say some of the Kathara teachings that
Yeah.
help you do the triadic phase currents on your chakras will help you
Hmm.
remember who you are, sister. You open the heart chakra, that's 4D, 5D, open 6D. Your own soul level is going to tell you who you are. You don't need a psychic.
Yeah.
You don't need someone to tell you who you are. Only you can
Hmm.
tell yourself who you are by
Yeah.
reaching that higher self. So,
And you'll know at which strand you're at, by the way, as well. That's one cool thing is most humans are at like a 3.5 strand, right? I have this belief, I don't know, but I believe most people who are entering into freedom teachings
mhm,
are starting to get that fourth, fifth, and
right.
sixth strand
Mhm,
going
yeah.
because you wouldn't be able to hear love unless you have your love center open.
Right.
You know, you wouldn't be able to know truth. You wouldn't be able to have wisdom unless you have your wisdom and the area where you speak truth. And you wouldn't be able to have vision or cognition unless you have the cognition open. And then beyond that, well, that's the fun part, going beyond that, and then
Well,
being able to go to the councils yourself and
mhm,
then speak with them yourself. That's what's waiting. And not only that, you have an inner earth version of you. By the way,
right.
we all do. There's an inner
Yeah.
earth version of you. Try and talk to that too. That's
Hmm.
like the first being that I would recommend going to try and speak to, is that, because they will answer. And if
Right.
they can't, let's say a friend of you from Inner Earth will come and speak to you, because
Yeah.
some of us have a hard time, taking advice from ourselves. Ironically enough, we are able to give good advice, but we don't take our own advice. a lot of
Right.
time. So, they're just like, okay, here's a friend. They'll help you out.
So here's another one. Can we discuss why Reiki is a distorted healing? So many people get very upset when I bring this up.
Because Reiki was given by Omicron
Reptilians
Draconians.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
reptilians.
Yeah, they were it was given to astral field implant, right? So what I can imagine is they reverse the current. Reiki is like a reversal of the natural Kundalini currents that are going in your body, right? To create, let's say, um, astral field implants to be able to track you around and what you're doing, you know? Um, and when you're doing Reiki, a lot of times there's an oversoul or overlord from one of those FA collectives that comes and follows you around without you realizing, right? So in your mentor space, you know where you're supposed to be, there's a dark being there that when you're putting your hands out and you're doing the little healing stuff, sorry if you can't see it, when you're doing your hands and you're healing, um, they are starting to beam their frequencies or their dark technology into your bioenergetic field. So, how do you combat this? Somebody who's practicing Reiki could start using Kathara, implementing Kathara frequency, and as he said, that those triadic phase currents into their teachings and understanding, what frequencies are being beamed, as am I and then using the 12D, so Reiki.
All right.
Wait.
Here we go. All right. Christos Avatar T. Sorry, brother.
You're good. Reiki, the reason that it's not good is because of the source in which it was provided. Do we think Omicron Draconians really want you to be healed? Only healed enough to the
Yeah.
point where they can use you for sure. That's about it.
Also, don't did Reiki use specific symbols
Yes.
and you visualizing on these symbols? And
Hmm.
I don't know. It just seems not, even if you don't understand Reiki, it just seems wrong. There's something wrong with that. I don't know. It's like, um,
I did okay as somebody who actually has, when I was first starting my spiritual journey 2021, I did a Reiki session, right?
uh
And I'll tell you, it puts you in this spacey headspace, It makes you all spaced out, And that make you feel good because you're numb to things that you'd react to, in a negative way, let's say. But that's not a good thing. You need to be able to feel what you're experiencing. So Reiki puts you or put me in this numb zone where nothing, light, love, and clueless headspace,
yeah.
like, everything is good and loving, and you become like this little puppy that's on a leash now. It puts you on this leash that you can walk around. And the thing is, maybe it had that effect due to me being an indigo. I don't know, right? Because I can only imagine if somebody's running a bunch of Metatronic currents through them, that they would have way different experience with Reiki than I do, you know? Because um, sometimes a lot of us, we do things and we don't know why our body wants it, but that's your Metatronic aspect, let's say, because we're in this fallen world
hmm
that wants that. You know what I mean? Some like I'm not a person who is big on pharmaceutical medication, right? But sometimes you might have to take a medicine or two, a Metatronic medicine or two, simply because your body is starting to have these reactions from starting to purify. You need to kind of give yourself that buffer zone that's going on. So yeah, Reiki is, if you want a Omicron Draconian following you around, go right ahead. But I'm good on that.
Yeah, even speaker one talked about, I
Mhm.
think it was Cathara workshop, that you could actually take the distortions of Reiki and turn it into a Cathara type of Reiki.
Yep.
You're basically transmuting the negative aspect, and
Hmm.
it's also, what is Reiki? You're trying to heal people. Remember, we talk about facilitating healing.
Yes.
So
Yeah. And the Cathara, she actually goes into that where you're not a healer, you're a facilitator.
exactly,
You know what I
they're
mean?
for their own higher self to do that work. So
Mhm. Yeah.
What is the best way to remove J seals?
There, if you Google, or you can even go to Nikki's channel, Tune In Inspired, you can just Google J seal removal technique, and then it'll
Hmm.
take you through the meditation where they won't have the Vecca codes, but they'll use the sound tones that are the Vecca codes. Because each symbol, for example, this symbol behind me,
The sound.
yeah, the sound of it is e ka sha, but this is the symbol of the e ka sha right here. You know, so you can just Google J seal removal, and then you'll find many channels that have the technique, like the techniques in it. Or you can, I don't know which workshop. There's a specific workshop where you can go through the workshop as well and find the technique. But
Hmm.
many people have recreated the techniques on YouTube, and in many ways, I kind of enjoy some of them over the original because the music that they put in the background is
Yeah.
really relaxing and stuff, right? And getting you in that zone, you know? And then but I'll give a caveat when you're doing J seal removals. Be prepared for pain, okay? You might get a headache here, you might get a shoulder ache here, you might get a heart, your here on your left side will be very achy. So, yeah, that is a caveat. If when you're going through the thing people don't understand when they enter the freedom teachings is they think everything is going to be easier. No, that's new age. Everything doesn't actually get easier. It gets a bit harder to begin with because you're clearing out so much distortions that your body has been like conditioned to be used to for so long that it hurts. It's hard. Emotionally it's going to be hard as Anuhazi said in his life, like you lose stuff, you know? You you'll feel pain. You might even get sick. Like I got really sick for a month or two straight when I started doing flame body, purifying. I got really sick. Like
Mhm.
I've never been that sick before. My mom looked at me and she said, "Is your immune system okay? Like you've been sick a lot. Like you need to go to the doctor and get checked out." I'm like,
You need to go get the.
"Yeah, yeah, exactly." Which, the but I was
Yeah.
like, nah, I know what it is, mom. She doesn't know, but I'm like, I'll be fine,
Hmm.
you know? And there's this ache that we will always have a little bit when we're here because we know how everything is reversed. We
Yeah.
remember how it was to how it is here. So again, JCL removal. To answer the question, you can go on any YouTube channel and or just
Yeah.
search Jehovah seal remove and you'll find it. You'll find the
And
technique.
I'll
You
have,
I
I'm
was gonna say,
sorry, one of
last
the
thing,
moderators, go ahead.
just when you're doing stuff like JSeal, add the epsilon disengagement sequence, phi, beta phi, and you'll find that on Google too. Actually, a good channel for all these meditations is Amareya Earth, you know?
Oh,
So
we interviewed her.
yeah,
She's
yeah.
our blessed sister.
Yeah, yeah. So you can go to her channel. She actually has the original meditations, some of them from Speaker 2.
Yeah. Hmm.
Right? Sometimes listening to Speaker Two's voice, especially through Flame Body, is very nice.
Yeah.
He has that really divine masculine presence to him, and that's really nice to experience because he's the one who's like, no, this spiritual high, this is what you need to do, this is how you need to do it. The teachings were brought, these are, and I like that. But anyways,
It's too bad he got a bad rap.
yeah, well, the bad
That's
rep,
it's part of that what do you
the
call
split.
split in the shield, yeah.
Yeah,
So
the split in the shield. It's unfortunate, but he has done a lot of work, like creating a Facebook before he passed away. He had an original Facebook. I've never been in it, but I heard he'd post the stuff. He did his work. John the Baptist did what he came to do. I know that.
yeah.
And now he's back with Joshua, you know?
Yeah.
And like all of us will one day go back and be home with our friends and family.
I've seen Jeshua, and it's weird. I've
Yeah.
seen Ashiana up there. I've seen John the Baptist up
Yeah.
there. I've seen myself up there,
Yeah. You're there
so
with them. We are
it's
all
a
there with them. It's very surreal when you have that experience
yeah,
and knowing that you really are like,
humbling.
yeah, humility is a big thing. Like
Yeah.
you need to have some humility in how you approach these teachings. You need to
Mhm.
humble yourself and you cannot allow it to foster a negative ego.
Yeah.
Okay? see how I said negative ego? We kind of do need a little bit of an ego because it tells
Yeah,
us which
that's
mouth
one of
to put the
those
food in.
that's one of those distortions. You know, the ego is your third chakra. You can't take your chakra and throw it away. You
Yeah,
need the positive part of your mind, your mentality, your ego.
yeah,
So,
yeah, because it gives you the ability to translate what's going on out there.
yeah. And plus you're using the mental body on a lot of
Hmm.
these techniques to visualize and so
Hmm.
I want to ask, brother, can you share people with you're also a musician, a very talented one, as a matter of
Yeah,
fact. So
do they want to hear a song?
it's not copyrighted on YouTube, will it
No, no,
cause a
no,
problem?
no.
Okay, then
But what I can do for them here is I can screen share like I did for you earlier and give them a little sneak peek
hell yeah.
of the album that I'm gonna release. Um,
Eventually on
let's
Spotify, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be Spotify. Actually, tonight I'm gonna work on getting them all on my YouTube channel
Oh,
because
awesome, man.
there was a delay in my release. But let me find one. This one is actually already released on Spotify, and it's called Twisted Lies. It's on released on Spotify already, so I'll let people. Can you hear everything?
I can on my end. Let me double check chat.
Yeah. Let's hope chat can hear.
Can you guys hear the track? It's not playing now. Did you pause it?
Yeah, I paused it.
Okay.
You know I see twisted lies, see twisted lies. I just see a world upside down, world upside down. You know I see twisted lies, see twisted lies. I just see a world upside down, world upside down. I just see the tears in her eyes, tears in her eyes, telling me she wanna live this life, but she
Yeah,
wanna
they
go.
hear it.
I don't know this pain in my life, going inside, going so deep to my bones, letting me know. Gotta take a journey back home, back to my throne. Gotta let everyone know, everyone know. I do it for collectives in different dimensions. Starships and some messages. They claim they from heaven. I stand in the flame, don't care what they claim. Tell me what's your name, I'm living today. You know I see twisted lies, see twisted lies. I just see a world upside down, world upside down. You know I see twisted lies, see twisted lies. I just see a world upside down, world upside down. Embedded with all these distortions, they tryna make you hear them voices. They tryna take away your choices. I'm on the train, all aboard it. Embedded with all these distortions, they tryna make you hear them voices. They tryna take away your choices. Hop on the train, all aboard it. I'm with the crystal, the flame and the fire. I am the truth in your heart, your desire. I am the one that's connected to source. I am your freedom and I am your choice. This, I am, this, I am. We stand in the Christ, in the flame, Amorea. We stand in the Christ, in the flame. You know I see twisted lies, see twisted lies. I just see a world upside down, world upside down. You know I see twisted lies, see twisted lies. I just see a world upside down, world upside down. I went in the game to go hold the flame. Remember your name so you can go play. Claim freedom today from all of the snakes that try to replay the trauma it made. So freedom is nice, so get off the high of your own demise. Those twisted ass lies embedded in mine. So let's go and fly, let's go and glide. Let's touch the sky, let's go and slide. Living in light, spreading my wings. I'm gonna fly to paradise. Christy act like. You know I see twisted lies, see twisted lies. I just see a world upside down, world upside down. You know I see twisted lies, see twisted lies. I just see a world upside down, world upside down. Embedded with all these distortions, they tryna make you hear them voices. They tryna take away your choices. I'm on the train, all aboard it. Embedded with all these distortions, they try to make you hear them voices. They trying to take away your choices.
I'm
Hop
on
on
the
the
train,
train, all
aboard
aboard
it.
it. You know I see twisted lies. I just see a world upside down, world upside down. You know I see twisted lies. I just see a world upside down, world upside down. Embedded with
Yeah. So
Awesome,
this
man.
song is already on Spotify. If any of you guys want to listen to it, I hope you enjoy. But yeah, the idea why I make music is because that is creation. Okay, this goes to the manifestation thing. Creation leads to manifestation. So the best way to manifest anything in your life is start by creating something, something that's in your heart. Music spoke to me so many years of my life, and I just figured, I'll speak back, you know? And I'm grateful to have my producer. His name is Taza, and he's also a Christic brother as well. We talk about all the teachings together, and
Wow. Yeah.
and yeah, we're here just to release music that connects each of us back to ourselves.
Mhm.
You know, there's so many. There's new to me, switching it. There I have 12 songs, and there's a reason I chose 12
Of course.
for the album. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you want to check out this specific song, Twisted Lies, it's already on Spotify. It's under my name, my Spotify account, except there's a period in between each letter. So it'll be N.A.T.A.I on Spotify and Apple Music.
And I'll get those links from you, brother, and we'll put them in the description of the video.
Yeah,
People can just link, you know.
yeah,
And I just want to say that a lot of indigos are got some mad skills, man. And we need to, it's almost kind of like we need to transmute a lot of that Hollywood of toxic energy and all the toxic lyrics that are out
yeah,
there and replace them with these Christic vibes and that are actually powerful and also healing. So
yeah. Here you go. I'll send you the link to my Spotify right here in the
awesome, man.
chat.
Oh yeah, perfect. Put it in chat,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. You can go check it out. I I just hope the only thing I hope for when it comes to music is that you get out what I used to get out when I listen to music. Even to this day, like
Mhm.
I cry, like those tears that you learn more through your tears and your laughter than anything else. That's what I learned in my life. The more you laugh, the more you spread joy, and the more that you shed a tear, that's love, you learn so much. And
And
Maharic Seal. Again, Maharic Seal, everybody. Please
yeah.
do your Maharic Seal because we live in a world where you can literally pick up things from other people without realizing it, right? And so let's say create a shield behind it
Mhm.
is your Maharic Seal. You do it in the morning, you do it at night, and you do it as you feel throughout the day. And once you get to a certain point, right? I can just envision that Ekasha right behind me, or the Maharic Seal, which is the 12-pointed Star of David, right? That's what it is. And then
Or 24 pointed.
yeah, 24-pointed, whichever. You can even go up to 36, 48 if
Right.
you'd like. And then you shoot that into Earth, get the pillar up, your shield underneath your feet, and then just and then
Yeah. There's a
and
fast
in
there's a fast
yeah, there's
seal.
a quick seal, right?
Quick
Once you
seal.
get once you get used to the Maharic seal, you can start doing quick seal, right? Which is this an instant because you're you're
Yeah.
you're already accustomed to the frequencies. And don't be surprised if it brings out, certain things to the forefront when you start doing Maharic seal.
Yeah, you're attracting someone's noticing you now, so they don't like
Yeah,
it.
yeah, exactly. Right? People, and don't be surprised, people will look at you differently when you start to walk in the Christ, right? Some people will look at you, wonder how. Some people will look at you like, I don't like them. I don't
And
know
it,
why, I just don't like them.
and like we said before, you're gonna lose a lot of friends. You might even be lonely for a while, but you're gonna find each other. We're finding each other. This is part of that. We're coming together, talking. We're spreading omni love. We're sending out Christ consciousness,
Hmm.
unity. Okay, and no false light here. We're representing, the real truth, and there is a real truth.
Yep.
So
And this is the future album, but I'll tell you because this one's called Starfire. I have an album called Truth that is in the works, and it's gonna be called The Road You Take Home. That's truth. Truth
yeah,
is the road you take home. And there's one truth source, but each of us have our own individual roads that we take home. So stay true to it. you know? And remember your divine blueprint, what you came in to be, what you came in to do, and
Mhm.
who you really are, guys. Like you're loved, man. I love you. Like I don't know if you can tell, but like each of you, and not just each of you, everyone I encounter, I love them so dearly, and that comes, it may seem like, oh, you're being a, let's say, an asshole describing certain things that the FAs do and how FA people act. But no, I'm just telling you the truth. I'm not trying to be I'm not trying to belittle anybody. That's not what we do here. Christic life, Christiac life, we do not belittle. We just shine the truth, shine the light. And if the truth and the light is bringing, your true character to the front, it is what it is, like that's not on you for spreading truth. There's
Yeah,
nothing wrong
I
with
think
sharing it.
we're meant to we're actually incarnating here to transmute, expose that
Yeah,
darkness. And
yeah.
I
Like
mean,
I'm exposing like Elon Musk, guys. Like he ain't
yeah,
him. He's not the one that you want to follow. Okay,
yeah.
he's literally, um, Elon has, to me, he has Zeta connections. That's how I feel about him. He has the Zeta to Omicron draconian connections with his technologies and stuff.
Well, I would
Once you
say most billionaires are falling into that category.
Yeah, yeah. So, like, if you what's it called? If you also understand how FAs operate, you will understand which FA group is doing what here,
This
You
is
can
why you
see.
don't want to be clueless. You want to be
Yeah,
informed.
exactly. So you can know who is trying to mess with me right now. Oh, is it a Jehovian Anunnaki agenda?
Hmm.
Guess what? Jehovian Anunnaki you'll see all over New Age, because Jehovian Anunnaki learned that we can just say, "I love you, haha,
Right.
we love you," and
Yeah.
"Yeah, we love you." Don't watch out for that punch that we're about to throw, but like we love
Yeah.
you though, you know, right? And then the draconian ones, they're more like aggressive. You'll know that, you know,
Yeah, they're more muscle. They don't,
yeah.
the Anunnaki are sneaky. The
Yeah.
reptilians just, we're just gonna bulldoze you.
Yeah, and then you got the bugs, and
Yeah.
then like those Necromaton and Rami,
Yeah.
they fall in either category because they work with, like, they're like men in black, right? They will work with whoever
Right.
will help their agenda
Mm.
progress, right? And some of us have like certain fears, like arachnophobia or fear of
There's a
bugs, and
reason for that.
or like, for example, for me, snakes and reptiles I never really messed with. You know
I
why?
wonder
Because
why.
yeah, because maybe it's because we went to war with them in the
Right.
past. You know what I mean? We went to war. And that's not
Yeah.
to say to hate them. They are perfect creations of life, you know? But I'm not gonna put a poisonous snake beside my children. I mean, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna let an anaconda into my house and gobble up my children. I'm gonna be like, okay, you can do you, but go over there, you know?
Yeah,
And
we don't condone what the darkness does. We understand they're part of God too. We're just not gonna have our children around them, you know?
yeah, I'm not, and what's it called? And the thing is, they offer a great gift, the secret gift, and the gift is knowing what we do not want to be like.
Hmm.
That's the ultimate gift, is knowing what we don't want.
Right.
You know, if you know what you don't want, then you know what you do want, and then you can create that for yourself. So, if whoever's listening, if you feel heavy-hearted, if you feel anxious, if you feel unloved, if you feel any of these feelings, remember, remember you. Remember who you are. And remember your inner Christos, right? Remember the Christos avatar that you are. And and if you can't, at least take the steps too, you know? And you will notice that, hey, that feeling doesn't necessarily disappear, but it gets lighter. You can hold more, and you can transmute more, and you can heal more and more. And as you start to do that, then you start to, guess what, take responsibility for people in your family. I have noticed a change in my family that I have never thought would be expected. I have seen things in my mom and my dad, you know
So they're actually listening to you.
like, no, I mean, not talking freedom teachings. I'm just talking just as how they interact with
I
other
see.
people.
Yeah.
My parents are devout Christians till the day they die. To them, Jesus is their Lord
Right.
and Savior. It is what it
Yeah.
is, right?
Yeah.
But in terms of how they interact with other people, in terms, I see that kindness coming in, you know?
Yeah.
There's no more, that judgment is starting to disappear. And I know I may have had a part to play in that with how I choose to purify my frequency. You
Mhm.
may not be able to change people with words anymore, but you can change them with frequency. You
Yeah.
can change them with resonance. And and in that way, that's how you do your commission. That's your job here is frequency.
Mhm.
Your war isn't fought with words. Your war isn't fought like this.
Right.
Your war is in frequency. You are frequency warriors.
You're holding that frequency
Yeah,
here. And
yeah.
your aura is so huge, it goes out miles, it goes out,
Mm-hmm.
galactic. I mean, whoever's in that is gonna be,
Mm-hmm.
that's like collateral benefit, I would say.
And be fearless.
That's one of the 12 attitudes, baby.
Mm.
What's up? Fearlessness.
Yeah. Any more questions here?
No, brother,
Yes.
I think we're gonna wrap it up, but
All right, there we go.
it's
I
definitely been a phenomenal conversation.
thank you. I appreciate you for having us, me on, but and as
And
well as
Nikki.
Nikki as
Yeah.
well. You know, through me here, we're here to represent, and we have our own podcast too. Feel free to tune in, and I hope us Indigos were able to connect more and yeah, we'll see where the
Co-create.
future. Yeah, co-create. We'll see where the
Mhm.
future takes us. You know, and yeah, check out the music as well. If you like it, you like it. Check out more of Anuhazi's videos. A good one I recommend is the 3-4 hour long Templar one.
Oh wow,
Where
that's my older one,
yeah,
huh?
that one's a really good one. I still recommend, like, if you're new, go through that. And then yeah, good luck on your journey, everyone. Okay.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the teachings are out there. We're always trying to provide links, and whenever someone has a question for a link, just let us know, me or DM me or one of our moderators. I'm
Hmm.
sure there's going to be a part two, brother, and
Okay.
we'll be
Sounds good.
looking forward to it. And
All right.
bless you in your journey. We'll have to check out. I want you guys to please check out Nikki and Natai's work, and they're still ongoing, right?
Yeah, we're gonna have another episode we're gonna record tomorrow and we'll be up. So
Yeah.
me and Nikki will take this as far as we can, you
Do you guys
know.
do lives?
No, we don't do lives. We
Not
just
yet.
we record, not yet. Maybe I might figure out how to start doing lives and stuff, you know, because I like this.
Well,
And
what about you, brother? Do you think you'll ever do your own, kind of
yes,
like,
after this interview, I will start making videos. I'll have one up on my personal channel
awesome,
tomorrow.
man?
Okay, I got you guys. If you really want to hear what I have to say, I'm not a person who really likes talking in the public eye. That's never
Hmm.
been my thing. But um,
You remember Ashana said that before too. Remember,
yeah,
she was afraid of death to go public.
yeah. I send you a link to my personal YouTube channel as well.
Oh yeah.
I should change that. I'm no longer Natai the Indigo 3.
Oh yeah. Upgrade
Yeah.
that, bro.
Yeah, so yeah, and you, whoever's listening, and you feel called to speak, share your mind, share your thoughts. The freedom teachings is a living thing, and it lives through us. You know, uh, the
It's
cool
in our
thing about it,
DNA.
yeah, the cool thing about it is it is in the name freedom, and we can free ourselves and tap back into who we are. And life takes an interesting journey, like you can go back and do your regular life things. You can go work, have a job, you can interact with anybody, but you have that knowing, and in that knowing is your liberation, where you can be in the world but not of the world. Hashtag engaged detachment.
There you go. That's one of those 12 attitudes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
all right, man. Thank you so much for your time, man. Thank you for
Yep.
co-creating with me. This is gold. This is beautiful. I'm so happy that we can share this together and share to the Christic community. You guys will expect more to come. Bless
Yep.
all of you in your journey.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Adonai.
brother.
Thank you. Stay
Take
blessed.
care.
Yep.
Chua.